Okay, let's all bow and pray in silence. Amen. Hallelujah. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall begin our morning class. Let's all stand up and sing hymn 337. 337. Let's all kneel down and pray in one accord. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Hallelujah. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue our learning. So this is the fourth class, also the last class for rooted in the church. So as mentioned yesterday, that the reason for this class is to address the misunderstanding of our young generation toward the concept of the church. In our school, in our society, we were taught to be more inclusive, more understanding, more mutually respect, and also mutually agree with the differences. In our society, that the school or the society, the current, the mainstream continuously told us, if you are unable to accept the differences, then you are either discriminating or you are hating. So some of our youth are being constantly influenced by such a concept. They bring such a concept into the church and feel that if the church insists on certain teaching or uphold the concept of one true church, then we become very narrow-minded or discriminating against those who hold the different belief. But we have to understand, at the end of the day, you have to make a choice. Whether you want to uphold the concept of the Bible or you want to uphold the concept of the society. That's a choice you need to make because they are different. In the Bible, according to the Lord, that there are differences. The differences are there are certain way that God accept, and there are certain way that God resent. That's how it is. Doesn't matter what the society tells you. Doesn't matter how the school try to influence you. In the Bible, there are certain things the Bible specifically say God hates it. God hates it. So if you disagree with God, you say, oh, no. You cannot hate anything. You cannot hate anyone. That's hate crime. If you want to bring the human concept and force it upon God, then yeah, you look at the church. Maybe you feel, that's why you feel the church is very narrow-minded. The Bible is discriminating. That the whole concept of salvation become very inclusive. Maybe you are right if you look from human perspective. If you are holding a belief against God's concept. Because the Bible made it very clear. There are things that God wants you to do. There are things God said no, disagree, or no, not allowed. So at the end of the day, it's your call. If you want to follow God's way, or you're going to follow the society. So that's just your call. But as we said yesterday, TJC were never meant to, we never call ourselves one true church just so that we are higher, greater, more noble than other people. We call ourselves one true church because we have to. Because we have to. It's not by choice. It's by default. Meaning, if we want to follow the teaching in the Bible, if we want to follow the instruction of Jesus, Jesus said, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. By doing so, we have no choice to become the one true church. So instead of questioning our own church, instead of point the finger at our church, say, oh, why are you so inclusive? You should turn around and ask the world, and why are you so far away from the teaching of God? That's what you should ask. But you don't. Instead of asking others, instead of asking other denominations and say, why don't you read the Bible? Why don't you follow the Bible? You turn around and point your gun at the church and say, oh, you are so discriminating. You are so narrow-minded. So that's why we need. That's why in this YASC, the team, the YASC team, that they brought up this topic instead of generalize the topic and say rooted in the truth, which is pretty common, right? This time they said rooted in the church. And the main reason is they want you to understand that the two topics are one. They are the same. So, rooted in the church is the same as rooted in the truth. Why? Because the purpose for the existence of the church is nothing but for the truth. The purpose of the church is not having this building, having a good lunch, having you come here and join the... What is church? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. If we go to, let me see. Man, now with aging, I have to look at like this. If you go to 1 Timothy chapter 3. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 15. Verse 15. But if I am delayed, I write so that you may know how you ought to conduct yourself in the house of God, which is the church of the living God, the pillar and ground of the truth. Okay? You know that when you read this verse, you have to pay attention to the wording. if you don't read carefully, sometimes you feel, oh yeah, the church, and then the truth inside the church, right? Okay. But if you read carefully the way that Apostle Paul positioned the words, he says that the church is the pillar and foundation of the truth, not the other way around. A lot of times when we read this verse, naturally we create an image in our mind that the truth is the pillar and the foundation of the church, right? You have the church like a building, and then now the truth is the supporting pillar. The truth is the foundation of the church. No, that's not what Apostle Paul said. No. Apostle Paul said, we the church are the pillar and foundation of the truth. Please, the sequence, the order is crucial. Why? Because you do the other way around. That there's a building called the church. Truth is only the foundation. It's only the pillar. Okay, there are several pillars that support the church. So by removing one, well, maybe it won't collapse. Okay? So the wording decides the priority. Okay? If the truth is meant to support the church, okay, you know what? The truth is only in the position, in the secondary position, as an assistant. That truth exists for the purpose of the church. But according to Apostle Paul, it's the other way around. That the church exists for the purpose of the truth. Which means, if there is no truth, then there's no church. If there's no truth, then it's no longer the church. So for TJC, if we remove our basic belief, even we still flourish, even we increase in number, even we spread everywhere, even we build those huge chapels, we are no longer the church. We are just another assembly of people who call on the name of Jesus. But we are not the church. Church is very, very specific. Church is only serving or existing if there is truth. So when there is no truth, there is no church. That's why when we say that rooted in the church is no different than rooting in the church, rooting in the truth. It's the same thing. Because church only serves one function, which is to uphold the truth. If you cannot do that, it doesn't matter what kind of building that you have, how many people that you have. It doesn't matter. You are no longer the church. You are not. You are just another assembly. So please do remember, as much as you want to sound so profound, so transcending, so spiritual, let's not talk about church. It's the truth that we care, not the church that we uphold. You have no idea what you are talking about. You might make yourself sound so spiritual, transcending, above everything, but in reality, it's only a show of ignorance. If you do not know, church and truth, they meant the same. So that's why in TJC, we are so insist throughout the past 100 years. There are many things changed in TJC. In the past 100 years, many things were different. But you know what? When it comes to basic doctrines, when it comes to article of faith, we never change. We do not change. Because once we take those out, we are no longer the church. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. So in this time, we talk about the building the church from Ephesians chapter 2. We have the foundation of the apostle and the prophets. Jesus Christ served as the cornerstone, and you and I, by holding hands, can connect together. We form the tabernacle. We form the holy temple, and we form the church today. So number one, we talk about building the church. And number two, we talk about the growth. The growth of the church is through the strength, the strength of the inner man. Okay? Through the strength of the inner man. That means the cultivation, the part that people do not see is what make you strong, is what make the church strong. Several years ago, when I went back to Taiwan, I went to Taichung, the General Assembly in Taipei, in Taichung, the General Assembly of Taiwan. And I was just sitting there chit-chatting with other pastors. And somebody brought, one of the pastor, he brought out an incident. He said that there was a youth, probably not one, like a few youth, came to Taichung GA, and they have this, I don't know how you call it, it's like those political action, like they demand explanation from GA. And they say that, we are such a big, because TJC is one of the largest organization, nonprofit organization, one of the largest nonprofit in Taiwan. In terms of religion, in terms of Christianity, we are second largest. Only, which is the largest? Presbyterian, Presbyterian. We are the second largest. So some of the church youth came and, GA is not doing anything. How come we are not on the news? How come we are not doing charity? How come we are not doing this? Well, you know what? 那个慈济哈，那个慈济的英文是什么？the Buddhists, whatever, they say, they do this, they do that, they are here. How come we are not doing anything? We are not doing any charity work. You know, young people, have a lot of zeal, want to do something for the society. Okay? And after they bombard the GA with all those, how come we are so far away society? How come we don't do this, we don't do that? And then one of the worker in GA just said to the youth, come and follow me. So he led them. Taiwan GA is pretty big. So he led them through all the aisle, into the basement, into the corner, like in the dark area, in the dark aisle. At the end of the corner, there was a room. They opened it. It's all those plates, all those thank you banners, like the whole room were filled with all those 那个奖那个什么什么那个就是like the thank you plaque. The thank you banner, the thank you plan, it was all filled with it. But we just don't show it. You know that a lot of organizations, they just, when they get those thank you thing, they just put it everywhere. So people coming, oh, wow, you do all we don't. Why? Because Jesus said, do not let your right hand know what your left hand do, right? Oh, the other way around. Yeah. So, we don't, we just keep everything. We put it in the storage. Why? Because doing charity is never about showing off. And in Taiwan's September 21, the Great Earthquake, I happened to talk to some members in Taiwan and some workers in Taiwan, and they were just laughing. They were just, you know what? We send in so many people. We send in so many workers, so many people risking their life, bringing food to those areas that was in dire situation, and we helped them. And after we did everything, 慈济 came in. 慈济 came in with all the news recording, the news reporter, and then they start shooting the video. Oh, they work. And afterward, when the news car left, they also pack up and left. And they told TJC, you do the rest. You might think that we are foolish. That people take all the credit, we do all the work. Maybe you think that we are foolish. But in TJC, we don't fight for spotlights. We don't care about recognition because we are not serving, we are not doing all the work for that. That's why maybe you never see we do, maybe you don't see it, doesn't mean we don't do it. Okay? It's just we don't tend, in TJC, please do understand, from the GA to the local church, even to you in your private life, we never work for people to see and give us applause. That's not what we work for. Okay? So that's something that we need to keep in mind. So for young people, many things that you do not see before you snap, before you point your finger and start yelling, you know what? Do some research. Ask around. Maybe you are right. Maybe we oversee something. Then wonderful, tell us, and then we can work on it. Okay? I'm not saying we do everything right. Yeah, you know what? You are young, smart mind. So tell us, maybe there are more we can do. But we do it all for the growth of the church, for the benefit of the members. So don't just take it into emotion. I'm going to monitor your work. I'm going to interrogate you. This is not politics. This is not Senate. This is not House. This is not political arena. So everyone is working for the greater good of the church. If you have great ideas, no problem. Share it. Don't yell it. Okay? All right. So lastly, we want for the remaining time, I want to touch upon the last chapter of the book of Ephesians, which is the challenge of the end time, or the battle for the church. Okay? So let's turn to Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the... Can see it. Wrong line. You might be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. 12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against power, against the ruler of the darkness of the age, against spiritual hosts of the wickedness in the heavenly places. Might as well. Verse 13. Verse 13, therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and have done all to stand. Okay? So in the remaining time of this class, I want to touch upon this passage. This is the last word, the final word that Apostle Paul gave to the church of Ephesus. In here, Apostle Paul reminded them that in order to face this evil generation, that you must put on the whole armor of the Lord. And of course, from verse 14 and on, he gave you the description of what the armors are, like the helmet, the breastplate, and all those. We are not going to touch upon that because I believe you are very familiar with the different armories and also the spiritual significance. Okay? But we only want to touch upon the few verses that I just read. Number one, you have to understand we are fighting a spiritual battle. It is very important to understand that this is a spiritual battle, so you are unable to conquer the enemy by physical strength. Why? So go back to what I said earlier. Shouting, yelling, pointing finger doesn't do the church any good. It might give you and grant you satisfaction. Look how how fearsome I am. I can pound the table in the council meeting. I can shout at the members and no one dare to say anything to me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in the society, they tell you that if you are loud enough, then people listen to you. But let me tell you, If you try that, if you are loud enough in the church, then God probably just slap you on the face. Too loud, pa! Seriously, not kidding. There is an upper cap of how long God will put up with your unruly behavior. There are certain times, that sometimes we always talk about, oh, God has mercy, God is love, Look at Hebrew. Hebrew says that God is the fearsome fire. Okay? So there is how much God will put up with your emotional, unruly behavior. When it's really out of the line and when you show no sign of self-restraining, God said, you know what? You cannot do it. Let me do it for you. So please do not challenge. Do not keep on challenge how far God will bear with you. There are two kinds of lion in the Bible. We have the Lion of Judah, Jesus Christ, brave, able to fight, and able to sacrifice. But at the same time, remember, Satan is like the roaring lion. So you know what? As you think that you are very, very fierce. Oh yeah, you know what? I afraid nobody. Council is nothing. Pastor is nothing. I dare to say everything. Maybe you become like a roaring lion. You might think that you are doing something out of your righteousness for the better of the church. No, probably you become only the tool using by Satan. Oh, wonderful, good job. Go, ruin the church. Destroy the harmony, causing divisions. When you are shouting and yelling and thinking that you are being zealous for the Lord, maybe you are only serve as a supporter of Satan. So be very careful. So in here, Apostle Paul remind you and I, when we are working for the Lord in the church, it's not about this flesh. It's not about your physical strength. It's not about how strong you are in your personality, how persuasive that your words are. In here, it's all about your spiritual strength. Let's read a verse. Let's turn to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapon of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity in the obedience of Christ. So please be reminded, the battle that we are fighting is not carnal, is not who win. Sometimes people take this very personal. I have a proposal in the church, and then when it comes to vote, I stand up and say, who is voting against me? Why? You know what? What's your problem? Like when you take it so personal, and then you demand explanation after the voting, you just approach and say, why did you vote against me? What's your problem? There are even people, after voting, when the proposal got voted down, they got so angry. And then they pound the table and say, we will keep on voting until the proposal passes. I don't know, what's wrong with you? Talking about don't even talk about the church, talking about democratic society. When do you find any election? We will vote until I win. Oh, let me take that back. All right. No politics in here. No insinuation. But anyway, does that make any sense? It doesn't. But why do you insist on that? Because you think you are God. Do you think that, because very much inside there's an idol. There's an idol, and the idol is you. So you think that you are always right. You think that your proposal is the best. You think that everybody needs to agree with you. That's called worshiping the idol. Worshiping the idol. Okay? And that idol is you inside. You look inside, you see you yourself sitting on the temple of the Lord and say, I am God. That's the problem. If you insist that you must be right and you must win. Okay? So please do be careful. It's nothing personal. You shouldn't take anything personal in the church. If you have a proposal, thank God, you bring it up. If it passed, wonderful. Let's work on it. If it got defeated, thank God. It means that either your proposal could cause a lot of problem in the church, or there's a better proposal on the floor. Okay? So why take it so, so personal? It only shows how strong your ego is. That's it. That's the only thing it shows. It just shows that you are very strong ego. You have very strong ego. That's it. That's the only thing that it shows. Okay? So remember that this is not about if you win. Oh, my will, my proposal, my decision. This is what I want. I win. That's called carnal. That's called carnal. But in here, Apostle Paul said, no, we fight the war in spirit. Like what Jesus did. Jesus retreated to the wilderness to pray. And after prayer, he comes forth. His word comes with the spiritual power. Okay? So that's number one. So number one, remember that this is not a physical win or lose. Okay? And number two, here says that in order for you to win, you have to wear the full armor of the Lord. Okay, remember, you are not fighting individual. You are not fighting against another member. You are fighting against Satan. So then here, Apostle Paul said, put up the whole armor of the Lord. Anyone be in, this is California, okay? I was going to ask, any of you be in Metropolitan Museum in New York, but in California, okay. But the thing is, in California, I only been like the Los Angeles Science Center for my kids, and Natural History Museum. I don't know if they have something similar in downtown Los Angeles. In Metropolitan Museum in New York, there's a very big section of armories. Armories from all different part of the world, different dynasty. You even find armories from like Qing dynasty, which is kind of, when people using like metal, like steel, and we use like hay and straw for the, it's just weird. Qing dynasty, they should just go a little bit. If they go to Ming Dynasty, we also use metal, okay? It just everything went wrong in Qing Dynasty, okay? So if you go the wrong, then you will find a huge section about Roman Empire, because Roman Empire is the longest existing empire in human history, okay? Close to 1,000 years. Of course, there are a lot of it's one of the longest human empire ever exists, and it's one of the most strong military driven. It was a military driven empire. So if you go around, you see they have all the armories for the Roman soldier, and also the armory for their chariot, the horsemen. It's just pretty amazing. But if you look carefully, and then you will realize one thing. For the regular foot soldier, just a regular soldier, the whole armor, if you look at from helmet, breastplate, and like the whole set, it weighs close to 100 pounds. You know what that means? Okay, I should not use any of you as example. I don't know if any of you is around 100 pounds. Yeah, you need to, okay. Just imagine, you have to carry Lena whole day running because it's battlefield, right? It's not like you can take your time, okay, left feet first and right feet. No, you have to run. And that's only the armory. It's about 90-ish. Like in average, it's 90 to 100 pounds for the set of armory. Does not include weaponry. And if you see their weapon, like the sword, like you have to the two-handed sword. At that generation, the sword is not meant to cut. The sword is not meant for cutting because of the metal armory. It's meant for swing and hammer the body inside. So that thing is heavy. What am I saying? If you are not strong enough, you don't get to carry, you don't get to put on the armor. You collapse. You know that after married for all these years, one day I say to my wife, you know what? When we first got married, I was able to lift you up with one arm. Now I cannot even do it with both arms. You know what, brothers? Take this advice. Don't say stupid things, okay? Even after you marry, don't say stupid things. You know, somehow in the husband, we have this tendency to 自己找死, like we have this tendency to get ourselves in trouble. I don't know why, but throughout the years, I do stupid things. Yeah. So I was just like, out of nowhere, I was like, oh, you know what? I cannot even leave you with both. And she's like, that's because you are weak. All right. Yeah. But you know that, if we are talking about 100 pounds of armory plus weaponries, 120, 130 pounds, how many pounds can you lift? How many pounds can you put on yourself and still able to run laps? So what are we talking about? What are we saying here? If you want to be the soldier for Roman Empire, you know what? In Roman Empire, soldier has extremely high social class, extremely high social sense. Is upper class. They are the most noble class in the Roman society. But you have to be able to, you have to be able to stand to be able to carry the armory. Okay? So if you want to be the mighty soldier for the Lord, able to fight the spiritual battle, make a difference in your life, and be honored in the eyes of the Lord, you have to ask yourself, are you spiritually trained? So it goes back to what? It goes back to the pray for the strength of the inner man. Remember in chapter 3, we talk about there's an inner you, the true you. And that spiritual man, is it strong or is it frail? Okay. Physically, outside, maybe you are very strong. How about inside? Okay. So, number one, if you want to be the mighty soldier for the Lord, for the church, then you have to be able to take on the spiritual armors. Okay. So, that's another thing that we need to keep in mind. And lastly, there's one more thing I would like to remind you. Oh, you know what? Go back a little bit. Armory. You know that for their armory, there's a front plate, and there is another piece in the back. And then they have a latch to lock it. There's a problem. You cannot do it by yourself. Okay? How can you put two plates and then lock it when you only got two arms? Use your feet. So you are unable to do it yourself. So for a Roman soldier, doesn't matter how strong, doesn't matter how experienced, doesn't matter what kind of expertise that you have. You just cannot put up the armor by yourself. You can't. That's why they always pair up teams. In the Roman legend, in the Roman regiments, they always pair you up. So I help you first, and then you help me, so that we are able to put up the full armor. So, of course, without saying what I want to tell you, you cannot do this on your own. Again, that's why you are here. YASC is not about sitting in here, listening to the class. It's not only about this. It's not about class only. It's not about prayer only. It's about what? Finding the person who will pat you on the back and say, no, don't worry, I got you. Yeah, don't worry, I got you. Don't worry, you know what? I will hold this for you when you lack the armor. That's what we need. Maybe it's your future spouse. Maybe it's someone in here that will be your lifelong spiritual friends, but you really need someone. You do. The Bible told us so. Jesus showed us the example. When he sent out the apostles to work, they sent them 2 by 2, so that when you fall, someone can grab you and pull you up. That's what we need. Okay? So that's about the armory. Before we end now, let's read the last part of verse 9. So in here, oh no, wrong. Where am I? Oh, sorry. In verse 13, so let's read the last part of verse 13. In here says, you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. At the end of the day, this is the most important phrase. This is the most important statement. After you did everything, all this, fighting the spiritual battle, do the holy work, helping the RE, maybe set up the new system in the church. Maybe after your whole life you did a lot. Fight the spiritual battle. Bring people to church. Okay? But in here, Apostle Paul said one more thing. The most important thing is, after everything that has been done, you are still standing in your faith. What is the point? After you've done all this, okay, you spend your entire life serving the Lord, zealously serve the Lord, do the holy work. After all this, and at the end, at the later part of your life, or whatever the reason is, that you decide to walk away from your faith, collapsed, losing your faith, then everything that you did in the past becomes what? Becomes a joke. Everything that you did in your life is nothing but a tragedy, because at the end, you yourself are not able to inherit the reward that you have been striving for the entirety of your life. So, able to fight and survive. Please do remember, the greatest reward, or please do remember the greatest achievement in this spiritual war for you and I is to survive. That's the most important thing. The Bible talks about Demas. The first time he was, the Bible mentioned him 3 times. The first time, Demas, the good co-worker of Paul. Second time, Demas listed working with Paul. The third time, in 2 Timothy, at the end of Apostle Paul's life, he says that Demas so loved the world and departed from us. That's the greatest tragedy, because after all, he did not stand. Before I submit my application for TTP, I said to the Lord in my prayer that this is not in my original plan. I did not plan to become a pastor. It was not my plan for life. But, you know that I said to the Lord, I never asked for this. But since this is what you want me to do. So, in the prayer, I have to admit that before I submit the application, I struggled. So I told the Lord that it was never in my original plan of my life, but if this is what you want, if this is what you want, I will comply. But at the same time, I say to the Lord, I said, since this is where you want me to go, this is what you want me to do, I only ask you one thing. I only pray you one thing. If you do not grant to me, then I am not. Do not let me become a pastor. I say I do not ask for gift. I do not pray for talents. I do not need eloquency. I do not ask you to give me like power to perform miracle. Or no, I don't ask for any of this. I only ask you one thing. If this is what you want me to do, allow me to finish. That's the only thing I ask. After all this, able to stand. That's all, praise silence. Amen. Okay, we'll take a break. Okay, there's no break.
They don't know why.